Ladies and gentlemen, this is the news. 72-year-old former Patriots coach Bill Belichick was recently spotted with his 24-year-old girlfriend. She may be a New England 10, but she is still a Tampa 4. I'm sorry, what's left of Tampa 4. Unlike Belichick, she'll be the only one chasing a ring this season. Matt?
Yes. Walmart has just opened veterinarian grooming services in 5 locations. So now you can get your dog groomed at a place where no one has ever groomed themselves.
They're dirty at Walmart. A Baltimore teacher is facing charges after using ChatGPT to duplicate his boss's voice and make him appear racist. When hearing that, Blaze owners said, "What a great excuse." Welcome to Normal World. I'm Dave Landau, and joining me today is
Matt McLowry.
You can see him November 1st and 2nd at the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase.
Indeed.
And if you're around this weekend, I will be at the Improv in Raleigh, North Carolina. And next weekend, the 18th and 19th in Appleton, Wisconsin. And don't forget the Toys for Tots, $10.25. Matt's going to be there. 100% goes to charity. That's in Toms River, New Jersey. Get all tickets at davelandau.com. But without further ado, I would like to introduce one of my favorite guests coming back to the show. He's the host of Face Off on Fox Soul and Fox 26 in Houston, former police officer, former judge. Please welcome Charles Adams.
Hey, thank you for having me, sir.
Thank you for coming back.
Hey, anytime.
Dude, I appreciate it. How you been?
I've been good. Good. I actually wrapped up my radio show last night. Just don't have time for it. Working a lot, trying to make some money, watching this America unfold and come apart at the seams. It's been beautiful.
Yeah, it's nice. You're becoming an empty nester as the world's collapsing.
I've been an empty nester for a while. Both of my kids, that I'm not allowed to talk about on any TV.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's too late now. You broke the seal. My youngest, my wife just sets these rules. Hopefully she won't listen. She rarely does. My youngest passed the Texas bar exam. I got his results on Monday, so he's a lawyer. My older one's a doctor at a very fancy school that I won't mention. No big deal. I did win the parenting Olympics. I'm setting a high water mark.
I was going to say, you don't want to bring up those kids. Like, why would you not? You're like, oh, I got a doctor and a lawyer, while other people are like, mine lives at home and is on heroin.
Oh, no, it's, I'm an attorney. When I go eat with other attorneys who tend to raise fucked up kids, right? Because they don't pay attention to them and they want to ask the secret sauce. I did shit with my children all the time.
Yeah.
Right? There was, I basically was the antithesis of my parents who didn't know what the fuck I was doing,
Sure.
At 8, right? I think I started smoking and drinking at 10.
That's about right.
Weed at 12.
I was 11, I think you were more hardcore than me.
Yeah, I mean, I was obviously fucking at 13. I was. It took you, last week before you...
I lost my V card, I believe, right 9 months before my son was born.
Yeah, there you go. But, so I basically just did it. I love my parents, but, they were divorced 80s, 70s, 80s parents, and...
It's surprised you're so tall with all the cigarette smoke they were blowing at you.
Yeah, I don't know. My grandmothers, both of them, who I spent a lot of time with as a 70s, 80s child, they both, one smoked Cools, one smoked Salem, and lighting them end to end from early morning to late at night. Yeah. And both lived into their 80s, so... I don't know the math on that.
That was the thing. My grandmother, McLowry, smoked and drank every single day, and she was just like, oh, you're going to live forever. And then one day when she was 78, she went to the doctor, and you're like, you're just wall-to-wall cancer. You're just cancer head to toe.
Yeah, it's just, because anytime the doctor, you'd go in and it'd be like, so what do you have as a housewife? They're like, well, here's some Valium. That'll work well with the alcohol. That was like the only prescription you got. Was like, wait, do you have an opinion? Well, here's a prescription for Valium. That'll keep it out of her mouth.
78's a good run, though.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a good, hard, fun run.
Just like, what's wrong with mom? That's not your mother. That's just a tumor.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It's a big tumor with a
big
wig.
Circular casket that looks like an egg.
Jesus. But they lived funner. You walk by the Archie Bunker setup when you come into your beautiful studio, which is beautiful, by the way. It's it reminds you of the different times back then. I don't know. Y'all are children, right? Like 17, 18?
Yeah, I'm about 20. That's why I'm dressing.
Early 40s, right? Both of y'all?
42.
41.
That's early 40s, right?
Yeah.
So y'all missed the real 80s, right? Y'all caught the tail end of it, you know?
I got a dose of it. I wish I had more.
Oh, it was just freedom, right? You didn't have cell phones. You didn't have trackers. Your parents had to catch you smoking weed or fucking red-handed to get caught.
Same
right?
in the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't have
AIDS, though, so there was more of the fucking going on.
Oh, boy, I had AIDS. And what?
Hey, you got PrEP now. You got right. So
I know, right? I got to take so much of it. Because I got to take the cocktail first. Right. And I got to keep the AIDS to not infect it.
My parents caught most of the fucking I've done because they were dead already.
Jesus.
It's actually true. Your parents were looking down going, thank God.
It took a while.
I wish your dad was around to know that he has a granddaughter.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
I mean, he knows. I
believe
a man
he
of
knows.
faith.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was so funny because my wife and my daughter are totally fine, by the way. We just have to get our pool screen part of it replaced. But
was that because of you falling in it? And you were barbecuing?
Yes.
That's a good insurance
which happened, by the way.
As the lawyer here, no, it happened during the storm. All the damage.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Caused by the storm.
Yeah, that didn't happen when you were barbecuing.
Yeah, it didn't happen because I'm Chevy Chase on my off days.
Yeah.
See, I have an older reference level, but, it's just like...
That's our days, yeah.
My daughter was watching the news, and there was an old meteorologist, and she just pointed at it and goes, Grandpa. And she's like, Grandpa. And she doesn't have a grandpa. Both of her grandfathers are dead.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she needs one, though. Yeah. Have you thought about hiring the meteorologist to play your grandpa? It's like Christmas gift.
I consider it. My daughter loves Real American, so I considered asking Hulk Hogan. He lives nearby.
That'd be amazing.
Nice.
He lives nearby.
That'd be great. Keep him away from your wife, but being on that'd be great.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you don't want him sitting on.
I mean, if he's gonna fuck his best friend's wife, I think all wives are.
I think, die-hard childhood fan wives are on the table.
Right.
And obviously, she likes muscular, retarded people. She has a type. Yeah, that's true.
Those were the two adjectives I was hoping you'd use.
I had a feeling that's why I deliberately used them.
Not the other.
Just have a meteorologist come in with angel wings. My kid only met his grandma on my side for a minute, and never met my dad. And then he knew her parents, and her mom's still alive. But yeah. All I have is like really cool pictures of my dad playing football and stuff, so that's good for him.
Y'all are making me feel like I should appreciate my parents more and call them more often. Thank you, because this is depressing. I don't know. Maybe it was the Michigan cancer, or I don't know, But
it is Michigan. Michigan, yeah. Our parents.
Don't get me wrong. His dad drank himself to death, and my mom killed herself.
Yes, and
I'm glad we went uplifting. I'm glad we started this on a positive. America's not shit enough right now. Let's just get dark, and then see if we can reel it back.
I mean, it's just Michigan, though. If you spend one winter there, you're going to think about doing one or the other.
You get it.
It's either going to be pills, alcohol, or both.
I don't see how anyone. I only spent. When I was living in Cambridge, Massachusetts, it was the only time I experienced real winter, other than like going skiing or something, which I don't ski, other than going to watch my children fucking ski.
Yeah.
It's fucking like Michigan doesn't get dark at like 4:00 in February.
It feels like it, even
so
if it's not.
fucking depressing.
It's
very
depressing. But you
it's
can
the middle of July, and it's like, why is it 90 degrees and gray?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I didn't get it, so I moved up there in August. This was after I was a policeman. I moved up there to go back to school, and people are just laying on the banks of the Charles, sunning themselves, which you don't do in Texas, right? No. You get enough of the fucking sun walking to your car, right? and I was just like, what the fuck? And then you live through one winter, and you're like, oh, I get it now.
Oh, yeah.
And you're just trying not to get scurvy because you've been locked in something with no sun for 7 months, right? It's fucking awful. But you've retreated to Florida.
Yeah, I retreated to Florida. I mean, I retreated because I lived in New York for about 2 years, and then I lived in California for 3 years before I went to Florida. And like California, as much as the infrastructure is a waking nightmare every single day. And it's just, it occurred to me, I was like, one day I was just like, oh, I don't have a depression problem. I just wasn't getting sun for the first 32 years of my life.
Yeah, and you still look like it.
Yeah, it's true.
No.
I get about 10 minutes a day.
Well, that's good.
20 minutes. I don't know.
It's just enough before you start smoking. If you go back to the coffin.
Just calling him a vampire? I think you look delicious.
He's a handsome man.
A handsome man.
Who sleeps in a coffin. Not because he's a vampire, just because he died.
I'm like an Irish George Hamilton. All right.
There's a good 80s reference. That's brilliant, right? I prefer Zorro Hamilton to
Zorro the Gay Blade,
to Dracula Hamilton, but what are you going to do?
No, I agree.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Of course. And I mean, I don't know if it's Oompa Loompa or Wizard of Oz. I don't know what's going on. Or just permanent 12-year-old. But
yeah, what happened was I started doing drugs when I was 12, and my body was like, we'll just stay here.
Yeah, I think I'm 6'8" because I plateaued at weed, right? I never.
Think you would have been taller?
Yeah, I don't know. I think if I'd have done, maybe I'd have stunted it with cocaine and acid and everything my friends
might
were
have,
doing.
because you did a lot.
Yeah, I was afraid with cocaine that I would like it too much, right? Like I just didn't want. I still to this day have never. I just don't want to fucking know, right? Because I've heard wonderful things.
You don't want to do it now, though.
No, my heart would blow up. I'm all about
that or even fentanyl. Like, but I was walking the other day in Austin, and two guys were just like, "Hey," they had the funnest voices. They were like, "Hey, you want some cocaine? It's safe." That's how they sounded. I was like, "No, I'm good." But
it was the guys from Men on Film.
Is that the story you were telling me where you and two guys ended up in an alley doing coke and blowing each other?
Yeah, you remember that? No, that was when I was on coke back in the late 2000s. Look, I didn't have any money, and if it's for cocaine, it's not gay. It's in the Bible.
I don't know where, and I have had clients, I've recently closed a 2-decade-long criminal practice, so I've heard criminal defense practice. I've heard all kind of stories.
Of course you have.
But like in a city like Houston,
where
there's tons of fucking jobs. Right? You can always get a job. We've always had it, other than the 80s when I was a kid with the oil crash. There's always jobs. So why are you choosing? Well, there are men that still choose to suck dick, but then sit across my desk and explain how they're heterosexual, which no judgment. I don't care, right? I wish I was gay. I have so many gay friends, male gay friends. My lesbian friends seem all kind of angry all the time. And, their divorce rate is like 72% amongst them. But
they're women.
Gay guys.
They're not good at being friends.
They're just so happy, right? Like, I mean, I get it if I could get it. I just don't get it, right? I can't look at a cock and balls, and say, yummy, But I just can't. But my clients, because I focus mainly on individuals charged with felony possession of drugs, because I never thought I'm a drug war abolitionist. I think it does far more harm than good. If you could legally go buy cocaine, we wouldn't have all these suburban housewives dying from buying blow with fentanyl in it. They just don't know. It's right. People should be able to do harm. Crystallized meth, fentanyl, basically the only things that should be illegal.
Yes.
Right. And, but these guys telling me how, when they get picked up for solicitation, or something, well, I'm just sucking dick to try to get some money for. I mean, dude, couldn't you go cut grass?
Right.
Isn't there an oil field job that no one wants that you could do? I mean, isn't there anything other than...
It's sort of like you're not yourself, though, and you need a Snickers. It's got to hit you as soon as possible. Okay. No, you're right, though. I mean, you think that, honestly,
I got to be honest, it just seems like there's so many fewer hoops to jump through, don't you think?
Yes. Okay. No application process.
Exactly.
Huh?
Well, really, though, do
you have a dick?
I've experienced drug and alcohol withdrawal.
May I suck it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and usually you're going to get a yes in the right neighborhood. But, I mean, if you are experiencing that, you think that feeling is at least, like, start a business bad. Like, you really do want to, you really want it.
Well, did you ever remember hearing about the porn star John Holmes, who, when he was so badly in the throes of his drug addiction, that we did gay pornos?
Oh yeah, he did it for the end, the whole end of his career.
Well, I mean, I think in that industry, it all becomes a blur, probably.
Yeah,
I mean,
most
don't
likely.
most of the men in that industry go both ways to make more money? I remember
There's
reading that
A
somewhere.
gender blindness because it becomes a sex addiction. So I'm sure if you're Johnny
I
Watt,
thought it was what you had to do. It was like hazing at the beginning, like joining a frat.
Yeah, I joined a fraternity. There was no butt fucking involved, right? There was some paddling, which I thought was kind of creepy, but no butt fuck.
Yeah, well, because of Dazed and Confused.
Not with like a curtain rod or any, no?
No,
No,
paddling was
no.
always a thing.
The most I've ever had is a pinky finger from a girl, but I didn't mind it, right? And I mean, we could lie and say there's not nerves down there, but
I had an appendicitis. That's how I find out. I had an appendicitis and I had to take a suppository, and I was like, ugh, because it's just a little white bullet and a cup of lube.
Oh, I
And you're
know.
like, and you're like, I can't do. And then it chooses for you. It's just a bullet. It just.
Yeah,
and I was like,
Your ass acts like a mouth.
yeah, exactly.
It just swallows it like it's a Star Wars alien.
I was just like, nope.
yeah, the stories I've heard from, again, bringing up what I'm not supposed, but the surgeon child of what goes up people's asses and how they try to explain it, or just act like there's nothing up there and like, oh, I just can't use the restroom. And then they hit it with an x-ray and see these objects, impacting there. But it's apparently very much like a vacuum. Apparently it sucks it right up. So
That's why they go in. Like every time I have somebody in the crowd and they're a doctor or an ER thing, it's the first thing I ask, what's the strangest thing you found in an ass?
Yeah.
And like was a curtain rod. Last time we were in where was it?
Was it Omaha? Or?
It was I think it was Omaha, but yeah, the guy it was a surgeon,
it was
and
Des Moines. It was Des Moines.
Oh, Des Moines. He's like, yeah, it was a curtain rod, and it's just like talk about interior design. Like we just do 100 jokes about it, but he's like, honestly, the number of times that people walk in with like a curtain rod hanging out of their ass and just walk in and act natural.
yeah.
Like, I was just hanging these up, and
Would you like to sit down? I would not.
Yeah, it's like, can I get you a
stand? I'm
chair?
fine.
It's like, no, I'm good. Me and the thing that I'm dragging that's shooting sparks will be perfectly.
The worst thing I've heard from a doctor friend was 2 large Granny Smith apples.
Oh,
2.
he used the second one to try to get the first one out.
that they had to cut out of the person.
Oh,
And it's like, where's the math, right? Where is the absolute math that you're looking at fruit and you're, I mean, I got cucumbers. I'm over that. Corn on the cob, that was so last year.
Yeah.
Let me try to fucking stack a couple of Granny Smiths and fuck. I don't know, man.
they're called grannies, so it's not gay.
There's a
That's
great
right,
one.
they're females.
There's a great one where a guy shoved a 2-foot eel up his anus.
Really?
And it chewed through his intestines, and
Right.
they had to cut it out.
He was still alive?
Oh, the eel was alive. I mean, for the time.
Indian man travels to Vietnam. I know this story. I talked about it already. Indian man travels to Vietnam for sex tourism.
Sure.
Somehow ends up getting a live eel. They put the eel in with a lemon. So the lemon was
Yeah.
supposed to be what the eel chewed on.
Yeah.
Instead, the eel decided to chew on the intestines of this Indian dude, goes to the hospital, does not fucking tell them. Doesn't tell them. They cut him open to find a live eel swimming in his guts, making lunch of his intestines. And look,
He's like, I think I got a tapeworm. I don't know for sure. And they're like, okay, we'll check it out.
I don't get where regular old sex. I am so glad that
I'm like
at
it.
52, a blowjob and just, missionary, maybe flip her over every once in a while. More than enough. Like completely happy with it.
Of course.
Like how do these dudes get to the point where, was it Keith Carradine? It was either
David
David
Carradine.
Carradine,
yes.
or the lead singer of NX, Michael Hutchins. How are you having to hang yourself to bust a nut? Like, how sad is how I don't know. It's
Well, the nut, to me, I guess maybe it's just raised Catholic or whatever, but that's the guilty part where I'm like, well, now I feel dirty, and they're like, that's the part where they're like, it intensifies your orgasm, and I'm like, you mean the shameful ending?
My mom,
I enjoy all of
is
it.
that what the priest told you?
Yeah.
The guilt's gonna hit in a moment, son.
my mom's
It might be. I might be blocking out something very serious.
my mom's cousin died that way, and at first his
Fucked by a priest.
No, the autoerotic asphyxiation.
Well-hung priest.
Sorry.
They thought it was a suicide, and his friends had to come forward a couple days later and be like, yeah, about that.
Oh, the autoerotic asphyxiation.
Yes.
That's got to be weird because the mom's thinking like, I was fine with just
Yeah, I was fine with suicide.
Right. And do you keep that quiet or do you let people know? Like, is it more
I
important?
was fine
for
with
people to know
blaming
he
myself.
didn't kill himself.
Right.
You know?
Now I just have to for different reasons.
because you're like, he did technically kill himself, but it for sure wasn't your fault.
Right. It wasn't sadness. It was just, perversion. And,
It was just you raised a sick child.
what's sad is if you like that, like the asphyxiation, you could probably find a girl to do it to you. Thus, she could relieve the pressure before you died from it, right?
Right.
Especially if you're David fucking Carradine, right? You got to think there were women who would, participate and not kill him.
Well, and then he puts on tights, or he put on like lingerie, and then put himself in a closet, and then a maid from was it Thailand?
It was somewhere.
Yeah, opens it up, and it's like there's a star of kung fu wearing lady clothes, dead in a closet.
And no judgment. Whatever gets people off, I'm good.
A little judgment.
I judge Oscar De La Hoya more, right? Because he's like Mr. Macho Man.
Yeah.
You remember the picture I showed you
But-
of the crime scene with the guy
That's the
in
best.
drag, and he was dead, and he had, for a few days, because it was already the rigor mortis, right?
Yeah.
But he had an open magazine that was just a picture of a shoe and a heel that
Yeah.
said "heel boy" on it.
And it's a real picture. The guy's just dead in rigor mortis, naked with a lady's shoe that he was working himself to.
To each his or her own. Right?
Yeah, I mean-
I want people should all be happy and strive to be happy, but I
gonna be
I am
weird.
thankful
Not if
that I
they're
can
gonna
be
die from
happy. Right?
Sorry.
Well, I mean, it's like alcohol's killing all of us, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there are things that are killing all of us. Y'all got a great little head shop across the street, though. I just hit it while I got.
Oh,
here
is there
early.
really one?
Yeah, a real nice one. I'm a weed product guy now only.
That's
But-
all good.
But I mean, we all do stuff that's harmful to ourselves, whether it's
Yes.
food or, I mean, y'all are a couple of fit young men, but I'm a big fat bloated
Yeah,
bastard.
it's mainly just the comedy career for both of us.
Yeah. Yeah. We do do a lot of things. I mean, yeah, it's not a shoe magazine where finally your family has to check on you.
So what's your thing, Dave? Talk to me.
My thing?
What's your thing?
My thing is
What's your
everything.
weird thing?
Oh, my thing's everything.
Okay.
I think I've been addicted to everything successfully at some point.
No, I'm talking about what gets you off, Dave.
Oh.
Let's Oprah this. What, Dave? What gets you off?
Well, what I do is I have my wife dressed as my Uncle Jim.
Oh, Jesus.
I have no Uncle Jim. No, honestly.
That's what you called the priest, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Unk. That was what that's the sound my head would make banging against the confession room. Unk.
My Catholic experience, I grew up in Austin and then did the second half of high school in Louisiana, in rural Louisiana. I got sent off to live with my dad, right?
Yeah.
And he lived there at the time. And I was horrified. Austin, Texas, little hipster kid thinking
Sure.
rural Louisiana. But rural Louisiana was paradise. And girls in little bitty plaid skirts at Catholic schools. And Catholic girls are great. Like they fuck.
They're great
like,
to public school
like
boys.
Wednesday
Sure.
to Saturday.
Yeah.
They fuck. And then they feel bad when they go to mass on Sunday. And then about Wednesday, they're back at the game. I love Catholics, like drinking, partying, and you can just go say you're sorry and it's all good. And it's just a cycle.
It's
was
all forgiven
phenomenal.
at the end of the week. That's
Right.
that's why I think so many people. That's why I think the Irish and Italians enjoy it the most because you can. actually just murder a guy and then just go in and say
You
sorry.
sincerely tell the priest, man, I really fucking feel bad about this shit.
I don't want to shoot. He took money.
Right.
And they're like, that's understandable. That's also a sin. So we get it. Speaking of
Say
drinking.
5 male Hail Marys, then I'll be in the other room with this magazine that says Heel Boy.
Is that your thing, the high heels?
No, that was my priest's thing in Michigan.
No, his thing
Turned
was
out.
dating girls who thought they were Susan Sarandon in Dead Man Walking.
Yeah.
So
I attract girls who like guys who look like they could be serial killers because,
Your face?
yes, exactly. And so they
The
have
glare.
empathy for serial killers.
Yeah. Well, this one particularly, she wanted to free a guy. I know you've talked about it on here, but he may not know.
Yeah.
She wanted to free a guy who was in jail that he showed me a 48 hours on. There was no appeal because he.
No, they've been trying to appeal it for a while. It's just it doesn't work because he made a tacit confession to the murder over the phone.
Well, and then the fingerprints and ballistics matched his story. Mm-hmm. So, but his mom thinks he's innocent.
I would have been cool with it if she hadn't blown me off to go visit him.
there are. She blew you. She blew you off to go
She had a
killer.
weekend. She had a weekend off once, and she's like, "No, I'm going to drive to Missouri so I can see this guy for like 2 hours."
Who shot a guy in the face?
Got a woman in the face.
A woman in the face.
Oh,
correct.
well,
A friend.
yeah.
A trusted
Jesus.
friend.
The kind of guy you want back on the street. So the brothers from Beverly Hills, the Menendez brothers. There are innocent people. We had a famous one here in Texas, Michael Morton, who a dickhead cop and a dickhead prosecutor conspired to lock him up for his wife's murder. He sat in there for decades while his child grew up and absolutely innocent. They finally tested DNA. It's a serial killer.
Yeah, but this guy was white.
Right. So was Michael Morton. So was Mr. Morton.
Oh,
but
can't even believe
you
it was
hear
true.
about actually innocent people. But nowadays there's this effort to frame people that, Kim Kardashian, she's going to be a lawyer, but she's not even going to go to undergrad. And I've met her once. Very nice lady, famous for being famous. But lawyers come up with this shit. Like, you're not supposed to lie, but lawyers come up with shit trying to get people out. And this whole, I was getting fucked with by my dad. Okay. Then why'd you fucking shoot your mom? And then why'd you go out and buy a Ferrari and party with all the fucking money and seem to be having a real mid-90s great fucking time?
Right.
Right? If you had just been getting molested. And I'm not saying they weren't getting molested. I'm saying they probably weren't. But because Kim K comes out, you have legions of people that want these fuckers that executed their fucking mother
Yes. And
for money free.
And I'm with you. I don't think that they were messed with in the way that they claim. I think their dad was very strict.
Right, a dickhead.
Yeah. And I think that because the one brother couldn't handle what he did, which means that obviously there's this huge amount of guilt because he confessed to it.
Right.
And then the other brother, who comes off like a complete sociopath, was the one that, kind of planned the whole thing. He's the one that was like secretly bald, but always would like walk around with a toupee when he was younger.
Right.
So like his dad would humiliate him. So I think his dad did humiliate him, was very strict. But yeah, you don't shoot your parents and then all of a sudden, like 2 days later, you're giving out Halloween candy and driving new cars. And we're supposed to think like, oh yeah, they're completely innocent.
Right. And then so they lied about, they executed their parents.
Yeah.
But of course they're telling the truth now, trying to get out of fucking prison. They're people that should die in prison. But of course, if you look at California, and I forget the actor's name, but A Rebel Without a Cause, not James Dean, but the other actor, the other male lead,
Okay.
the nerdy kid.
Yeah.
He was stabbed in West Hollywood just going to his car at his apartment by someone that robbed him, who then got out 9 years later, right? I mean, there is a revolving door for many murders in California that we don't see here in Texas that speaks to why the LA and San Francisco are so filled with fucking crime. There are things that you should do that just mean you're divorced from society. And I think our prisons should be safer. I think there should be more reform. I don't think anyone should be in there for drug possession at all. I mean, narco-terrorism maybe, right? But that would go away if we legalized drugs. But there are fucking monsters that they use COVID as an excuse just to put back on the streets.
That's
and
nuts.
there are some fucking people like the Mendez brothers that should just die in prison. Don't execute your fucking mom.
Yeah.
That's me.
No, I agree with you. Well, and it seems like with pedos, the revolving door of that is unbelievable.
You can't fix those motherfuckers. You know, I investigated that kind of stuff when I was a policeman. I have represented some as a defense attorney in the past. And I will tell you, and it's so nice to be done with criminal defense. Fortunately, I make a bunch of money doing other shit. But I was always very passionate about fighting the drug war because I thought it put regular people that didn't victimize others into a horrible system, right? Yeah. I believed in it. But pedophiles, and I've had falsely accused clients, right? Weird divorces, make up shit, but usually you can unravel those cases pretty quickly. But those that do it, they're just hardwired to want to fuck children. And you can't fix them. And if they're not in a prison, they need to be in a hospital. They need to be away from fucking society.
I'm fine with a cemetery.
Right. Because what they do to kids, right? And you see so many kids that are victimized, it changes their personality, it fucks with them.
Yeah.
A small minority actually grow up to victimize others. Yeah. And it's just this horrible fucking thing. And frankly, I don't think because, like, you know, my wife will tell me, you know, I look forward to you not wanting sex all the time. Like, you're in your 50s now. Shouldn't it slow down? You know, right. You know, unfortunately, my dear. But you know, those guys are wired that way.
Right.
That's what they want. And, you know, they just can't be fixed. And if those that self-govern and you never hear about them, you never know about them because they just suppress it. Okay. But the ones that don't, man, fuck those motherfuckers.
It's just that once you cross that line, I think you have no place in society.
Right.
So for the light sentences and the revolving door that they get, it makes very little sense to me when they're considered the most dangerous. Like, you can't really...
Like, you look at Great Britain now, and like there's a revolving door for them. Then you get 8 to 12 years for a political meme.
Oh, yeah. If you say something, the wrong thing on Twitter, you're going to jail for, 10 years.
It's always the same judges, too.
Yeah, it's insanity.
It is. If you've, like, a couple of weeks ago, John Kerry directly attacked the First Amendment.
We put it on the show.
Okay. Kamala Harris was speaking to the NAACP this week, directly attacked the First Amendment. She was using coded language like misinformation, and we have to go after the platforms.
Yes. Right.
But you have to protect...
Well, it seemed like there was a coordinated attack I saw across all the media.
Right. And what shocks me is why the media doesn't have the balls to stand up and say, whoa, the First Amendment's us, right? We're the ones being protected. Mm-hmm. And you know, what you really saw was a hard shift during the Obama administration. And I'm no Republican, I'm no Democrat. I hate them both, right? But the Obama administration really tied access to journalists playing along with the narrative, right? And they were the first administration to do that.
Well, when they're talking about misinformation, they're not talking about the journalists and the mainstream media. They're talking about independent media.
Well, even I would say they're talking about everybody, right? They're talking about the journalists that would be brazen enough to say, hey, this fucking laptop seems to have a lot of actual pictures of fucking Hunter. I don't think it's Russian disinformation. Hey, let's deplatform you, you know? And in the wake of what happened to so many Americans who bitched about the vaccine, so many Americans who took issue with the COVID narrative of lockdowns who got deplatformed, coupled with basically a coalescing of our intelligence community and Silicon Valley and so many legacy media outlets saying, this is Russian disinformation. Don't believe any of it. How on earth can anyone entertain misinformation being a reason to go after people? And that France going after was it Telegram? It wasn't Telegram. Which platform was it? The CEO, the Russian, French?
It was Telegram.
Was it Telegram?
Yeah,
I think it was Telegram.
Yeah. I mean, he's bended the knee. He's giving them information now because they are willing to jail anyone that does. And it's really, and I'm not, like, I find like the Alex Joneses and what he said about the Sandy Hook parents to be horrible. I think that extremism is often dishonest to try to build a snowball of listeners. But and I don't like hyperbole, but it's getting fucking scary. And if you look at what the WEF and Klaus Schwab, and what they're talking about like limiting travel
they said
for the
age
climate
of free
apocalypse.
will is over.
Well, it shouldn't be, right?
No.
Well, they want it to be.
Social media creates this public square that we can all participate in, and it should very be wide open. And I find Musk occasionally to be a bit trying and a bit duplicitous, and I think he should pay more in taxes. But he really did a lot for America by buying Twitter and saying, hey, look, I'm going to let y'all say fucked up shit because I think free speech is important.
Yeah.
And what traditionally has been the legal argument is, well, these are private companies. They need to police it. But the truth is, that's the new public square.
No, I think, Elon has made a radical difference. It's just I shouldn't have to search for Hurricane Milton and see a guy jerking it in his tighty whitey.
No, that's
The only problem since he joined Twitter.
Yeah, well,
That
when it
kinda
becomes...
I
sounds
search
like
the most innocuous thing and then just see it fucking...
Oh, yeah. No, that's
That's the algorithm giving you what you want. I mean, even if you don't want to admit you want it, Matt, that's the algorithm giving you what you want.
What was your last point? I'm sorry. Say that again.
So
the algorithm does give me what it wants.
Yeah, that's
Oh, it does. I mean, it's pretty
not
much
dirty.
it's men lifting weights, and you swear it's for.
You know what? It's 2024. No one should judge you for wanting that.
No, it's great.
So the
Various
legal
oils.
argument, the way the lawyers,
That's what I was going to ask you. Like the way that they.
It's
use
mostly
that.
just about people controlling the weather,
It is. Well, yeah. Well, if
which Biden said was ludicrous the other day, and I was like, "Oh fuck, that means they're controlling the weather."
well, there's actually patents that can be available.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I don't believe that they created this hurricane to seize the land to do mining. I just don't. We have a bad government, but I don't think it's that bad. But what the argument around the
I don't think they're that smart.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. I mean, they can't even they can't even let a fucking assassin kill someone without fucking it all up.
No,
right?
they can't even get rid of a president without bringing in the worst alternative.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ! You know, how shocked were y'all that 60 Minutes actually asked her some real fucking questions?
And then-
right?
Well, they tried to edit them. She answered them coherently.
Yeah,
They
and
were
then
caught in the-
They cut the Iran stuff out.
Correct, yeah.
But like the questions about her, well, you know, how did you, this way you got this nomination was kind of fucked up, right? Now, did they go for the jugular? No. Will they ever treat the left candidates like they treat the right candidates?
Oh, compared to any legacy media, though, it's the hardest hitting interview she's had.
Yeah, well, it is. And that's why they are trying to keep her away from us, right, as a people, because they thought they could just call him a Hitler, call him a Nazi. And I'm no Trump guy, right? But
None of us are, and we're
Right.
both voting for him again.
Well, of course, again, yeah.
Harris, I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, right? I mean, it's her statements about free speech, and she, of course, calls it misinformation. Her statements about the economy, about capitalism, about the border, they're all so empty, right? And at the very least, she could say, hey, you know what? We fucked some shit up. I'm going to fix it. She's not saying that. If you listen to her, and she really believes she doesn't have to campaign at all, and just shitting on, having surrogates shit on Trump is enough to win. Now, that's not enough. Trump's saying stupid fucking shit, like tweeting.
Well, that was the thing she said on The View to an applause break. And she's like, well, what are you? And she's like, well, I'm not Donald Trump.
Right, and that's not enough.
That was her answer.
That was her answer.
I mean, don't we want to be inspired by our politicians? Don't we want
Yes.
someone that we
We're
want
being
to lead
told
us?
we're inspired. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, after everyone has been through so much shit, right? From COVID lockdowns to, I mean, it's just been a depressing 4 or 5 fucking years.
Well, it has. I mean, just in the sense of you look at the economy that
Jesus.
she denies, and then she's like, "When I'm in office, I'm going to do this." It's like you've been there for 4 years,
Right.
but I appreciate that. Then you have to
when
look
she's
at.
asked what she'll do different, and she's like, I can't think of a thing.
Then you look at the banks, and you look at the fact that if you have a savings account, your money's worth half of what it was 4 years ago.
Right.
Then you have to deal with your own stock markets and IRAs.
My
that are dwindling.
cheeseburger's twice as much.
Your cheeseburger's 4 times as much. I mean, but it's just that alone for people that need it. is terrifying. Then you look at what happened in 2008 with the housing crisis, which the American taxpayers bailed out.
Right.
And then the whole idea was you have low interest rates, we're getting people homes. So what do? We're at 10%, and houses are at 4 times the value they were, 10 years ago?
Well, it's a combination of many things, right? So, I mean, first of all, are we so gullible that the Fed cutting interest rates right before the election, we're supposed to not think it was planned, right?
Of course.
I just, if you look at the housing crisis, people like to attribute it to BlackRock buying up houses. It's really not that huge of a portion. It's just this machine that we've built to fuck. I mean, you can go buy a house in Italy, or Norway, or all these places, and for a fraction. You want to get a house? Go to Japan. Go look at the price of housing in Japan. And wonderful housing, filled in a country of people that follow the rules and are really fucking nice, right? It's just different, and you can live so much cheaper other places. And I've personally thought about it, right? I was in Palo Alto a few months ago. I went in, I was killing some time. I said, I'm going to go buy me a large soda. It was $8, right? And you know, we talk about the Democrats want to blame it on so many things, COVID, this and that. The truth is Larry Summers, who was he's an economist, but was an advisor to both Bill Clinton and Obama and the former president of Harvard. He went to the Biden administration and said this Infrastructure Act is going to cause crazy inflation. We can't do it. You couple that with all the money we're spending on the open border, it's really going to be a problem. We can't do this. It's going to destroy the value of the monies that so many hardworking Americans have saved. And Biden just said, we're going to do it, right? And did it because he saw it as his legacy. And we have watched America just be in the toilet for no fucking reason. And we're pretending that it wasn't great under the first 3 years of Trump. You know, when you hear the Biden administration or Kamala talk about Trump's economy, they're always talking about the COVID economy. And I think he could have done things way different. I think he was behind a lot of the lockdowns that made Americans suffer so early.
And I've said on this show many times, I think he handled it poorly, but there was not a lot of information. There was a reason behind it, and I do feel that the other side was working against him anyway. Right. But at the same time, I think he should have handled a lot of things differently. But let's take COVID out of it, and you look at the first 3 years, I'm with you.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah. But it's like you have to call it balls and strikes, and for some reason, a lot of people refuse to do that with him. Right. But realistically, going in, I would way rather have that economy. I'd rather have the early COVID economy than this.
Well, he'll never, and just because I'm more aware, because I've got a criminal justice background, but his sentencing reform for the federal government and his First Act program to get first-time offenders in federal prison was something that no president had ever done since Nixon really ramped up the war on drugs. And he did fuck shit. And here's the thing. Trump would have had 2 terms if he'd just fucking put Twitter down and stopped being such an asshole, right? And the stop the steal grift, he really was just stealing $400 million from the gullible, right? I mean, he did some bad shit, but if he would just raise to the caliber of president, 2 weeks ago last week when he claimed Jamie Dimon, the CEO or the chairman of Chase, when he claimed that he endorsed him and he didn't, right? That's just stupid shit. Like Trump could just stop being the populace for a while, stop the bullshit, and he would win this election. Have y'all seen the polls the last couple of days?
Oh, he's killing it.
Killing it despite everything.
Wildly in his direction also.
And I mean, and then I think that's the best gauge, right? Yeah. I think Las Vegas knows much better than we do, right? Or the scholars. But I mean, the thing is, I promise you they're holding something back. Right, they're gonna drop something a couple of weeks before November that will be akin to the mirror image of the laptop, right? But instead of it being suppressed, it will be amplified, and we'll see. But I think Republicans and Democrats are really to blame for just not giving us better choices. And the Republicans ignored their constituents for decades, right? And that's why Trump came to be. The populism is a backlash to them not listening to the libertarian edge of the party, right? And the only thing...
Tons of people that identify as conservatives, people that identify even as Christian. I mean, we can obviously have that talk that with Trump where that's not necessarily fits the mold, but it was still different.
Well, they gave us neocons who are all backing Kamala now.
Well, and then, libcons are just, it's the same thing, though.
Yeah, the neoliberals.
Neoliberals, yeah.
Neocons are just warmongers, right? They that's the biggest
100%.
fucking business in the world. That is the most profitable
sorry.
business, right? Is waging war. You make trillions of dollars in it, and the only thing you do is have to have a bunch of young American men go get killed, right? It's when everybody, and I personally think that...
Yeah, and we weren't Nazis when we wanted to go overseas and kill brown people, were we?
No.
Now we don't, and we're not, and it's a problem.
Well, it's I am typically anti-war, and we have really, when you watch the media machine sell war to the American gullible, it's crazy, right? And we have been in a war, since 92, that just isn't going to ever fucking end. And my philosophy on this is, hey, I think we should support Israel as our ally, but I don't want any Americans dying over there, and I would rather have fucking health care for all American citizens than pay for Ukraine and fucking Israel to go to fucking war.
Absolutely, you should take care of the country first. And I think, it's good we have a sponsor, though, that also takes care of our soldiers. Isn't that right, Matt?
There's nothing better at the end of a long day than sitting down in your favorite easy chair with a glass of your favorite whiskey. And hey, if it turns out that with every glass you're helping to support a great American cause, doesn't that just make it taste that much better? It's time to chart your own course with Flying Ace whiskeys from Craftco. Inspired by generations of American aviators and proudly made right here in the US of A, Flying Ace is not only making amazing whiskeys, they're also committed to supporting our brave troops and their families through their partnership with Folds of Honor. They're providing scholarships to families of America's fallen or disabled, and these scholarships allow families to begin to chart their own new course after experiencing great sacrifice. Flying Ace whiskeys are American proud because they're American made, and they're American proud because they're helping to support our heroes and their families. Don't wait around. Today's the day to get your own and see what all the hype is about. Buy online at flyingacespirits.com and use code AMERICA to get free shipping. That's flyingacespirits.com, code AMERICA for free shipping.
And thank you, Flying Ace Spirits, for sponsoring this episode, especially on World Mental Health Day. It's very important for people to know it is World Mental Health Day, and today it's mental health at work. And we want you to know that there's 3 easy steps you can take to ensure that you'll have a good work day during World Mental Health Day. Number 1, when you start your car for work, be sure to pull it out of the garage. Number 2, when you get to the office, don't kill everyone. And number 3, after work, don't take the bad day out on your spouse. Thank you, World Mental Health Day, for sponsoring this episode.
Is that why you had Matt and I on? Because of the World Mental Health Day?
Yes, I figured it'd be good.
Yeah,
No, but you're right about, we had to get into the ad somehow.
Yeah.
But,
no, it's brilliant. And I want to fucking try it now. That sounds like a great fucking company, man.
It actually is a great company.
Really an amazing concept.
And Derek.
Yeah.
Raging alcoholic. He loves the stuff, so you're going to enjoy.
Legit.
No, that's I'm going to have to get my son a bottle. He's a big whiskey drinker.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. Yeah, it's really good stuff. We like them for sponsoring this. So, no, and I'm with you, though, with the entire war machine and the way that I would way rather have Americans have health care. I really would like the VA to take care of our vets. There's so many things that we should be doing. And the idea, and I guess I wanted to ask you, this is a legal term, like, because I don't understand the whole legality or what's behind it, but the idea of all these, I just call it what it is, illegal immigrants that have come in, they've given money, phones, whatever it may be, but now we're giving out $750 gift cards to hurricane victims. Is that exaggerated, or do you feel that's really exactly what's going on? Because that's desperate and sad, and I think pathetic of America to send $1 billion one way, and then when our own tax-paying citizens actually need help from the government, we just leave them to die.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people in North Carolina sound as if they've been abandoned. I've been following that story. Now, the rejoinder to we send $100 million there or $600 million there, but we only give $750 to Americans. If you're giving $750 to 1 million Americans, that's $750 million. And,
Sure.
But if that is, as they say, it's just initial funding and we're going to do more later, then okay, that makes sense. And I do believe to some degree in personal responsibility, right? That you have to manage your own risk and all that. But I also think we're in this collectivist endeavor. And I think people on the right are so quick to call things socialism. But
I agree with you.
I do think the government should, in these unusual times, come in and say, hey, we're going to fix this. We're going to take care of this. We're going to pour this money into this situation. We are out of money, right? And
Well, I'm just in favor of the government not moving the needle closer to nuclear annihilation through a proxy war.
Yeah, no, it's really crazy that they are attacking so deep into Russia, and we don't think he's going to come back. But we got to fucking start doing shit for Americans, right?
Yes.
Like if you want to really dismantle systemic racism in this country, you should have safe, good schools with a pipeline to great jobs in the inner city. We have fucking shit schools in most, like schools in Detroit, okay? It's fucking our most unsafe communities are filled with our neediest, poorest people. They should have, if we're going to spend money, right, instead of, like this concept of reparations, just give people checks that will then be exploited out of them. How about fucking spending money on Americans, Black Americans, white Americans, Asian, Latino Americans? And, the thing with the border,
You didn't grow up with money.
No, I didn't grow up with money. And I actually grew up largely in an African-American neighborhood on the east side of Austin and, went to some shit schools.
Yeah.
And but I didn't have in the 80s were great. We were all just riding BMX bikes, smoking weed, having fun and fucking. But I mean, I'm not going to complain here. But really now, a lot of people are terrified to exist, right? There are portions of Houston, of Chicago, of Detroit, of Baltimore, of Memphis, of LA, where the people that talk about these concepts of criminal justice reform, which is really the new reform, is just victim abandonment, live behind a wall, right? We spend so much more on politician security now than we ever did. It used to just be the president and his family. Now everyone's got an armed private guard, right?
Of course.
And it's really...
Well, except Trump.
Right, fucking that. We're going to give him the B team and let people run around with a rifle.
Yeah, they get to watch a 1-hour video and we ignore the guy on the roof.
But even the Republicans, when they get elected, they don't want to do anything for citizens, right? And what the fuck? That's why we have a government in the first place, is not to do shit for people in fucking Zimbabwe or where the fuck ever, but to do shit for Americans. And Americans come last every time. And immigration. I am actually for immigration. I am for a regulated border.
Sure.
And letting people in. But if you come to this country and commit a crime, fucking throw them the fuck out. And if you've committed crimes in your country, I love it when Canadians like to lecture America from a liberal leftist point on the immigration issue.
Right.
No one's fucking allowed. You lived next door to Canada growing up.
There, yeah.
No one's fucking allowed in Canada. Can you go into Canada to this day?
No, I couldn't go in for 10 years because I had a DUI.
Right. It's
and
fucking,
now
let no one in there.
still be iffy. Like,
Right.
it's still hard to get over. Like,
I've been turned away for going to the border accidentally because it ends in Port Huron, the freeway.
I've been turned away because I'm going over there to do a gig, and then they're like, well, have you filled out all this paperwork?
Yeah.
So then the next time you go through, you're like, I'm going to the casino. Like,
Yeah,
you just
exactly.
lie.
Yeah, I'm not going to work.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But no, it's true. It's very hard to get into I mean,
Well, the woman who ran the
90s,
club
it
in
was
Windsor
easy.
used to tell us about a clause that the people there were never aware of.
Yeah, she would give you a card, the woman that ran this club, that said exactly what the law was to allow us through to work because they had to hire American comedians.
Yeah.
And then you give that to that guy, and now he's angry
never heard
because
of it.
you know the law better than him.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just really, this open border and how everyone lied. Like, if you think about the media, they lied about Biden's mental acuity. They fucking knew.
Years.
Right? And they lied about the border for fucking years until they decided, well, it's gotten so
Until they
bad we got
can't
to tell
lie
it.
about it
Right.
anymore.
And it's like, how
Well,
do
when
we
you go
trust
far
them?
north to chop up,
Right. Or if you look at it, Ducey is the only one that asked Karine Jean-Pierre real fucking questions.
Yes.
And how does the press corps live with themselves?
even when she's dressed like Biggie Smalls for some
and I am fucking, she lies with such force that she thinks there is something that will protect her from getting called to the carpet. But I hope Ducey, if Trump wins, I hope he stays the course and asks Trump hard-hitting questions, as opposed to taking the Fox News bit. I just wish we could get back to real fucking journalism, right? Yes. Journalists who want to find out what these evil motherfuckers are doing. Because when you look at the wealth made and you look at the stupid conversations, like what is it, AOC this week talking about how J.D. Vance was man-spreading, right? Who gives a fuck, right?
Of course. Well, they have to
or how he held his dog leash, right? And then the echo chamber regurgitates it. It's like, how about let's just talk about policies? How about let's just take a list, right? These are the policies of Kamala. These are the policies of Trump. And that all Americans look at those lists and say, I'm more concerned with these issues or these issues and vote accordingly. They don't want us fucking doing that, right? And I don't tell anybody who to vote for. If you're more worried about LGBTQIA rights, if you're more worried about women's bodily autonomy, if you're more worried about a robust, welfare state, if you're more worried about support, financial support for Ukraine, then you should vote for Kamala. If you're more worried about American public safety, about closing the border, there are key issues that if you're more worried about that than those, or not having a huge tax hike, which we are staring down the barrel
Absolutely we are.
Then you have to decide, right? And this bullshit, we're going to go after the fucking centimillionaires and the billionaires. There's no money in that. The government makes no money going after the super rich because they have walls of fucking accountants and lawyers. Mm-hmm. They make their money going after successful professionals, successful small business people, artists.
Absolutely.
About fucking going after y'all and nitpicking you about your deductions because you can't fucking fight. And that's it. That's it. And they're coming for us all. And it's going to get, it is honestly, we are very, if you look at some of this coded language, it sounds very much like the Cultural Revolution in China. And they're going to use climate change as the vehicle to strip us of a lot of fucking freedom.
I agree with you. I agree with you fully. And that's exactly what's going on. And you see the effect in people. Like I had written this down like earlier just because based on actually Mental Health Day, but actually looking at
I'm sorry for jumping this topic.
No, dude, it's not jumping the topic. I think it has to do with the same thing. Because you have to look at, alcohol-related deaths are up 30%. 1 in 8 deaths from 20 to 64 are drinking. The fentanyl deaths, more than 70,000 a year. Opioids kill 3 times that. Then also you have 83 million items were prescribed for antidepressants last year. Like there's people, they're feeling this. I mean, what you're describing is like, this is the effect it's having on people where it is leading to early deaths. It is, I mean, this is all what people
This is our
feel.
Parents?
Yeah, this is our parents. This is like, but even talking about AOC, I remember in New York when you looked at that level of narcissism where she's going around talking about how she's for the poor while parking her, $60,000 car on a curb and running into Whole Foods just because she's AOC.
Right.
It can do like we are not we need to be a people who are in charge of our government, not a government in charge of its people. And that's what we've become because they control everything. Like you said, banking, taxes, who they go after. Like the idea of going after the super rich, like you said, Jeff Bezos is going to make as much money as he wants. They never put that monopoly in check when they should have. So it's just off the rails now with him making $25 million a minute.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane.
They want to convince you that $350,000 is rich.
Right. And that's the whole thing. And they want to treat you like the post-monetary.
Yes.
And it's fucking, as they make inflation skyrocket, and the more money you make, the less it really is. And then we have so many people that don't ever have access to real jobs and real opportunity because there's just shit schools. The way they're pushing people through our education system is insane.
Agreed.
It's like they want to convince you that your cow fart is overheating the world and not private jets and dropping bombs in Syria.
It's exactly, well, really it's China and India. Until they clean up, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. We're just, what are we going to do with
unregulated industry?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was a guy who it was in Atlanta. Did you have that story? Like, just to even toss in there real quick, where this guy was testifying against this chemical company in Atlanta. And, right when he's done testifying, he just magically gets very, very sick. Yeah, Georgia environmental official collapses and dies near the state capitol after testifying about toxic BioLab fire. So we actually have footage of how he died. Let's see if we got it. So, yeah, I mean, they're looking into it for real, but I mean, I think that it may have been foul play.
Yeah, I mean the birdshot pellets give me some pause, but I do think that it's just all getting so fucking wacky, and that we're not.
No, and I'm with you. Like this chemical company, this is just here, like in Atlanta, where, which I'm sure, but it's like this guy goes to testify, he dies. But then you look at, that's not even a big deal. Like what he's testifying against is just everyday business in China, in India, without any pollution regulations.
There's nothing. And the real solution to climate change, which I do think we're hurting the environment. I don't think it is bad, or I don't think the apocalypse is coming, but
beavers hurt their environment. I mean, it's a matter of,
well, we're on a much larger scale, but the best way to fix it is the brilliant people of this world, which I don't think we are. Right. I think we can agree.
We know I am.
Coming up with clean energy, clean, cheap energy.
Yes.
We don't need less fucking energy. We don't need, if you look at what the WEF has suggested, like letting people in the Western world only fly once a year, letting us only vacation to a certain distance, charging us per mile for our cars, doing all these crazy things to restrict our quality of life, right? And the current war on air conditioning, right? That people aren't going to be familiar with until it's fucking happening, right?
Correct.
The real solution is not that, because no one's giving up. We shouldn't be encouraging people to give up their quality of life. We should be figuring out how capitalism can give a better quality of life to everybody around this fucking planet with clean energy. But it's about fucking control. It's about using these things to create a new serfdom. And I know that sounds like crazy conspiracy shit, but if you listen
You're on
to
the Blaze, you're at home here.
Right? Well, but if you listen to the
it's not far enough.
To the fucking rhetoric of both the right and the left. And look, I've been to a libertarian state convention. What a bunch of fucking lunatics, right? And then not the brightest people. But they get some shit right. Like individual liberty is why we're here. And of course, we got it wrong at the beginning. It was just for white male property owners. But we don't have it wrong anymore, right? It's for fucking everybody.
You say it's wrong.
Okay. But I mean, we did. We had a different, but we're acting like we haven't evolved. I was listening to what is it, Ta-Nehisi Coates talking about how it's still just like 1958 or something in an interview. It's like, insanity. Man, fuck you.
It's not,
right?
I don't believe that either.
And this argument, well, you don't understand because you were born this way. I'm still, this dismissing of people's perspectives by, but until we make more capitalism.
You weren't being paid millions of dollars in 1958 to say it was 1958.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Well, I mean, like right now, when we talk about some systemic discrimination, but it's not right now at this moment, right? It's not African-American kids and Latino kids lying about their race to get into schools, right? It's white kids and Asian kids, right? And no one talks about that systemic discrimination that has really gotten a bit out of control. And when you don't, we just don't have honest conversations. If you can say, hey, these schools are doing such a bad job because of systemic discrimination, you don't have to fix the fucking schools, and there's no accountability for the teachers, right? Or the government that's fucking just running.
Because excuses aren't action.
Well, schools, if you go into some of these schools, they're just shit. And it's because where's the money going? It's to the consultants and the businesses that the superintendent's going to go work for when they fucking retire for millions of dollars. We are fucking this next generation so hard. So much debt. We're not educating them.
Nope.
We're not giving them pathways. And we should be encouraging, like I have 3 degrees, but I have plenty of fucking friends that have no degrees and are making real fucking money because they trained, they learned a trade. We're not encouraging that. And then we're dismissive of it, right? Fucking mechanics. Like everybody has their own kind of fucking genius, right? I mean, not everybody. That guy doesn't seem like he's got it. But most people have their own fucking genius, right? And in a different way. And we should be encouraging different types of fucking genius and encouraging Americans to win. And it's like we don't give a fuck about Americans winning, and we get away from that by talking about root causes and this and that. Fuck you. Mm-hmm. I just want to see every fucking American win. And I don't think either of these candidates doing it. It depresses the fuck out of me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just think the Kamala future is the scarier one, if I'm being honest. I really do.
If the Democrats sweep the table It's a real problem.
I mean, seriously, it's tax hikes, it's excuses, education's not getting better. There's nothing that's going to change. I mean,
things will change.
Well,
yeah. The Supreme Court will get expanded,
correct,
which is a huge threat to our. I don't like activist judges. I don't agree with a lot of this current court's opinions, but you change the whole rubric, you fuck it all up, and it just makes the court unimportant because every time you don't like the court and you sweep and take power, you just add more fucking judges, and it's fucking crazy.
That's the problem with, I think, all of Washington is it's just so many people getting paid.
Oh, it's so much fucking money.
It's unbelievable, though. They're all sponsored by people who want. There's no. How can you actually make any real decision when somebody's in your back pocket pointing you in the direction you need to go? And I think that goes down to the judges right in the Supreme Court. I think that's all dangerous.
Yeah, there was a lot. I mean, the stuff about Clarence Thomas and the Chief Justice Roberts, his wife is a legal recruiter. Okay. I think it might be Kavanaugh's wife. I'm pretty sure it's Roberts' wife.
Okay.
Who makes millions of dollars placing lawyers at law firms, right?
That's disturbing.
Right. And you dig it back, there's just so much money involved, right? Because it's hard to live in Virginia or Maryland and put your kids in private because inflation has driven so much and the wages for the public servants haven't gone up enough to match it. And there's just so much corruption. And then they'll decide to go after one, right? Like Eric Adams, the mayor of New York. I don't think he's any more corrupt than any of the other mayors of New York. Definitely not more corrupt than de Blasio.
No.
But they came after him. Why'd they come after him?
He stepped out of line.
Right, because he stepped out of fucking line. Yeah. And it's really, we are being told, shut the fuck up, keep your fucking head down, or we're going to destroy your fucking life. And really, despite, the Trump prosecutions in New York, the Frankensteining of those charges to take them from a misdemeanor with the statute of limitation expired, that he very well may have some culpability for, to a felony by tying the federal election code had never been done before.
Right.
It should not stand up on appeal, but it probably will because it's a state charge, so it's only going to go to the state appellate courts, and it should terrify all Americans because the thing is, the message that Americans should get, if it can happen to him, it definitely could happen to fucking you.
Yeah.
And it's really this message of you better shut the fuck up and toe the line. And that is contrary. There's a reason the free speech clause is in the first fucking amendment.
Yep.
Because it's the most important shit. It and speech, it and free press are the most important fucking shit. There's a reason John Adams was our second president, because he was the one lawyer willing to stand up for the redcoats that everyone fucking hated, right? If you look at it, again, you accept in America the worldview just saw white male property owners as the only people that counted, which is fucked up. Right, but they did have some great ideas. Like, we can condemn Thomas Jefferson for fucking a 14-year-old slave. Hey, that's fucked up, right? But instead of trying to put the present day perspective, let's look at it through the vantage of then. They had some important democracy they created, downstream from France, which the bloody revolution.
Yeah, of course.
But fucking freedom, man, and France is the same way. Freedom's fucking dying.
Oh, in France, absolutely it is.
Fucking the UK, really, because I love London, and it's fucking. I have friends over there that are afraid to have a robust conversation on social media now, and it's fucking crazy.
I mean, like the news clips you've shown, they're terrifying.
Yes,
and they're designed to scare you
by a judge in curlers.
It's a wig, but yeah,
that's true. When you're wearing the white wig, I don't know, there's something about it where it's like, are you sure I can't leave?
I've got a UK lawyer friend that will DM me, man, I wish I could say that shit. And it's, if you're a fucking lawyer, tell them to suck your dick. No, you'll go to fucking jail.
Which makes no sense.
And it's fucking terrifying, right? And I just, people like to talk, well, China's so safe, you can leave your wallet in the street and no one will touch it. Yeah, but you can't fucking get on your phone in a private conversation and say the government sucks or you'll fucking disappear.
Yeah, they'll kill you. Like, that's great. You can leave your purse inside your unlocked car. But if you ever say anything bad about Xi Jinping, what is he?
In a way, too, I always feel like
killed. By the way, he'll be our president if Kam's elected.
No, it's just a thing where it's like they use people's good nature against them because you don't want to be racist, you don't want to be sexist, you don't want to be bigoted. So you want to throw people in jail for saying racist, bigoted, sexist things, don't you?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. But if you don't protect the racists and the bigots from governmental
then you just call people
for their speech, right?
Say things that you don't want to hear, racists and bigots, even though they're nothing of the sort.
Or truths that hurt you, misinformation.
Exactly.
I mean, the biggest lesson should be learned from the laptop. And I had a conversation with a guy worth probably $500 or $600 million that I know, right? And during the election, he said, I was like, hey, this laptop's real. There's too much. He's like, no, I've heard it from inside sources. This is all and this guy's brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant man. And I was like, dude, there are too many pictures of his dick and his family and his friends. Well, they could have embellished and added shit. Okay. Right? Like it's like I had this post. When I was in Japan a few weeks ago, we had done some pottery and it shipped it back, or the pottery place shipped it like we made some bowls. And my mail lady
chained to a radiator like a kid.
My daughter wanted to do it. You have a kid, you do.
Yeah, no, anything you want.
But my post lady walks up to my front porch and throws it like a bowling ball.
Oh, I saw your video.
It bounces off the fucking door and then lands and one of the bowls break, right? So I put it on Instagram.
I'm surprised only one broke, dude. That was one of the
most
other three,
tosses
I've ever seen.
Right. And the other three, okay, but I put it on Instagram and somehow my Instagram posts to Threads and all these people on that Threads app just fucking going off about how Mr. Uppity doesn't think it, and just like taking the post lady's side. And it's like, the fuck? Like, what? Why are we in this world where shitty people, it's okay to be shitty if you're just a shitty person. But if you say things, right, that people find, and people are watching this video of her throwing shit and talking about all this, and I don't get how people look at this fucking, at the laptop 4 years ago and say, oh yeah, we should throw the New York Post off Twitter because they've published this story. And people, many have forgotten that no one would post the Monica Lewinsky story. And that's why we all know Matt Drudge's name, because everyone else fucking killed it, right? And some of us just want truth. And what we're really doing is we're pushing people to the Alex Joneses of the world that admit under deposition, yeah, this is just a character I play to make hundreds of millions of dollars. They're going, and y'all might be fans, I'm sorry if y'all are, but we're pushing people to him, and so he tells the truth, right? He also tells crazy lies. And
but he tends, when he's right, he's right.
Right.
You know? And that's the reality.
But he's okay with being intentionally wrong. That's my problem with him. But when you find the New York Times to be as dishonest or more dishonest,
I'd say more.
What the fuck do you do, right? Like, what do you do as a fucking American? Where do you go? And what I tell people is, I said, you got to consume everything. You got to start at Mother Jones, and you'll work your way all the way over to Breitbart and read everything in between, and then maybe you can figure out what you believe is the truth. Well, that's a lot of fucking work. It's a lot of effort. And there's no fucking truth, and there's no fucking, like you talk about this mental health day.
Yeah.
The word disability used to fucking mean something. With my stepdad, before he died, when he had horrible Parkinson's, right? Until he was in a wheelchair, he wouldn't park in the disabled space. That motherfucker would take 20, 30 minutes to get his walker in so we could have a fucking meal. Like, because he wasn't going to park in the fucking disabled space until he fucking had to, because it's a matter of fucking pride, right? Yeah. I saw a lawyer get out of a disabled space, pick up 5 banker boxes, and I'll judge a motherfucker with my face, right?
Sure.
And he made a call, oh, there's more of them. I don't give a fuck. You're still an asshole. Or a woman get out with high, it's a silent disability. You can't see it. unless you're in a fucking wheelchair on a cane or blind or deaf, unless there's some fucking reason, you shouldn't be parking in that fucking space. You shouldn't be getting a disability check because you're sad and dyslexic. There shouldn't be fucking lawyers teaching. If you look at the numbers, like we don't do enough for our really fucked up veterans, right?
At all.
We have so many malingerers that are taught by lawyers the coded things to say that we're paying disability benefits to people that aren't fucking disabled at all, both on the veteran side, and no one wants to talk about that, and on the real, just the regular people side, because disability is fucking meaningless now. When you call everyone fucking disabled, no one's fucking disabled. And it's
well, that's
fucking,
victim culture.
right? We're a grievance culture. We're all just all us poor fucking things, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's the same as when somebody is throwing a box. I mean, that is a mental illness to me, but it's like you walk up, you see a ring, you're willing to walk up to your door and then just chuck property.
Well, because there's no accountability.
Well, there's no accountability, but there's no pride of ownership. There's no respect for other people's property. And then you have this excuse to go, well, you have more than me. I'm allowed to do that.
Oh, or just that. Oh, so they probably broke it earlier. That's what I saw a lot on Threads. Oh, it was already broken before I got there. It doesn't fucking matter. It's like all these rape allegations you see against Diddy. There are going to be plenty of people who file fake claims.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
But here's the thing.
I filed 6.
You can't, you can't say, well, I punched Cassie in the fucking face and raped all these dudes, but I didn't rape these ones, right? No, when you're a fucking piece of shit rapist, you end up fucking paying.
Yes.
But right now, we are just fucking saying to everybody, just be aggrieved. Find a reason that you're fucking different and you can't win to excuse the fact that you're not putting the fucking work in. And then people are on Thread saying, oh, well, you would have thrown it too. You didn't. Motherfucker, I worked at fucking Sonic. I chopped potatoes with fucking pride. I had a grass cutting fucking business. I sold shitty furniture. I worked at Radio Shack. I delivered pizza.
You were a cop.
I did all that fucking shit. Yeah, I worked night shift patrol, but being a cop is fucking fun. I'm not
sure that was
bullshit,
right.
right? I mean, you fucking, like, I drive fast cars now. There ain't nothing like driving a fucking 94 Crown Vic 150 miles an hour with the fucking lights on for no fucking reason, right? But the thing is, like, I've had shit jobs and I did them with pride. I was a shop hand at an industrial valve place, just covered in fucking shit, just trying to make fucking money. And I got money now and it's fucking nice, right? But I only got to the point where I got money because I worked my fucking ass off. And now we're telling so many Americans, oh, you can't win because of whatever ism, right? And I'd like to tell every fucking American, you've most certainly, some people are going to have a bad turn. They're going to get hit by a drunk driver. They're going to get cancer, whatever. But barring that, if you put the fucking work in, it's something that you innovate and become. Well, look at you.
You're born American. That's already a quarter of a win.
Yeah, that's not
right.
bad.
But look at you,
Yeah.
right? I mean, fuck, you can't see over a fucking bar.
No.
You couldn't fight your way out of a paper bag.
You know what? I was still getting served at 14.
Right? Well, that's true. But you're fucking killing this game.
Please keep telling me he's killing this game. He needs to hear it more.
But it's true, dude. I mean, look, when you make money from nothing, right? When you make money
Listen,
from
Dave,
your
are you
own,
listening?
your own fucking voice, right? Your own fucking genius. There are people like I drove from Vietnam to Saigon on this rally about 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
With a client of mine, and we had a great time. And you go, but Vietnam's very much a communist fucking country.
Oh yeah.
And then we were in Cambodia after that. We went Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, and you see these hopeless people that just want a way out, right? And that's why I'm pro-immigration. Like, people that want to get here and fucking work hard, I don't think they should be allowed to be on the dole. I think if they commit any crime, it's fucking by, right? And I think we shouldn't accept criminals, right? But the hardworking fucking people that want to come here and win, fucking A.
That's the attitude you need.
Right. And but
you meet a guy like that driving Lyft and he's not aggrieved. You know what I mean?
No.
Right. Oh, it's fucking crazy. You meet people that really give a shit about the opportunity. I remember I met a guy in Jamaica who had applied over and over, trying to come the legal way over and over and over, and kept getting turned down. And he was like teary-eyed telling me about it. He had 4 fucking jobs. He would come over here and fucking kill it. He'd fucking make it his bitch, right? Yeah. I have money, right? I literally got a call from my bank about having too much money in an account that it's not safe. You should move it around. I still work 5
It's
fucking
like, send it
jobs.
to me. It's fine.
I mean, if you could. I'm kidding, but no, it's.
Out.
But I've spent most of my life not having fucking money. Like we were talking about you turning 40. Like I got my first ridiculous check like 3 months before I got it. Good 7 figures check on a case before I turned 40, and I was like, oh, that's fucking great. But I'm fucking turning 40. But I mean, you got to put in the work. But when it's everyone can do it. Anyone could be a fucking lawyer. Get you a bullshit undergrad degree, go to a bullshit fucking law school, go be a fucking lawyer and make fucking money if you got hustle. Anyone can be a doctor. There's tons of medical schools now. Anyone, but like you were passionate about this one thing, being fucking funny.
Yep.
And you stayed at it. You didn't fucking compromise.
Nope.
And here the fuck you are. Like, I mean, we know each other. We're friends.
Yes.
You could have fucking compromised your values for an easy way, and you said fucking no. And you have to compromise in China. You the fucking Chinese, the party, they're monsters.
I don't know if Dave was the one who said no.
Look, y'all know each other far longer. Maybe he's a fucking sellout and spins a good yarn.
Only a little.
But he fucking seems to me like he's not.
No,
right?
I think I'm genuine and I'm just here. You know, it's where you land.
That's why I love your fucking podcast, right? Because I don't feel like
He's
you're
taken
a
so
fucking
much
shill.
shit about it too.
I have more than anyone I think ever should.
Anyone as ever should have or had to, and not as much shit as other people who've made the same choices have had to take either. Quite
made
frankly.
much worse choices.
Exactly.
But that's part
But
of
it's
what
like, people have and I've more or less followed your lead, and people have told me not to, but I couldn't be prouder, and I sleep like a fucking baby every night because I feel like in a small way I'm doing something good, and I'm part of the right side of something.
Well, yeah, but you've never compromised who you are.
Yeah,
I mean, realistic. I mean, that's part of this is
what part of what?
I will say, Matt, my wife's a massive comedy fan and like a student of it, like a massive comedy fan. We used to go to LA just to stay across the street from the store and go to the original room, listen to people working on shit. My wife loved your jokes at the mothership.
Thank you.
And there were 2 specific jokes that she just came away talking about for 2 fucking days. And that shit takes
do you remember
work. Yeah.
Which one?
I'm not fucking, I'm
He
not
doesn't need to create your balls at the
No,
moment.
I mean, really, she really fucking liked your humor. And there's tons of
Need more of
comedians.
that.
She does it.
I know you do. You're
And it's really, there's people that stick to their shit. Like Bill Maher can get on my fucking nerves, but I believe he believes the shit he's talking.
I do too.
And I think
I've
that's
defended that.
fucking important because that's a dying breed. That's going away. You know, my kind of thing with talk radio is full of people that live very different lives than the lives they talk about on the radio, and it fucking makes me insane. I was doing some post-Waltz Vance live coverage on the local Fox affiliate, and I'm on this kind of, it's 6 of us up there. And I said to 3 of them, including a state rep, I said, we know that you two are just always going to say the far right shit. You are, and I couldn't say shit, I was on live TV. You are always going to say the extreme left stuff. And it's not because you believe it. It's not because off camera you're selling it. It's because you're lying shills. And of course, I always get the talk, from the producers. You're not supposed to do, well, don't invite me on.
Right.
Don't invite me on unless you want to tell, because we're all getting lied to all the time. And like, if I say shit that, like when I shit on Trump, like I shit on Trump during his administration, just like I shit on Biden on his administration. And if Trump, when he gets elected, if he wins, I'm going to shit on him for the stuff he does wrong and applaud him for the stuff he does right.
As you should.
Same thing I'm going to do with Kamala if she wins. I don't care. But most people won't. And because in the media space.
Because we're wearing jerseys now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
Right, it's
really what it's
fucking
come down to. It's absurd, and we do have to get out of here in a second. I apologize. No, don't be sorry. It's why I brought you on.
I'm a chatty bitch.
No, and I just wanted you in this part. But you're right. I mean, I think that's the problem, is the division is created by the fact that everybody's so for their own team that I think a lot of people are so deluded that they don't know what their actual beliefs are, that they start just believing an algorithm or what they're being told or whatever publicly they need to say in order to hold on to whatever it is. But when you start publicly saying what you're told to say, that becomes China. You're not actually saying who you actually are. You're not saying your feelings. You're not saying either side. People can get mad at stuff I say, and they do, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But I do have a problem with the fact that people are just going to recite these words that they're being taught. You know, the parrot effect that we have in our country is pathetic.
I think you give them far too much fucking credit, because I know some personalities, and I know they're fucking lying.
Yo, of
They're
course.
lying through their fucking teeth, and it makes me fucking sick. And that's why, fortunately, I make money in other businesses that the whole media thing for me is fun, and I'm not worried about it. I love my Fox show, Fox Soul show, but if it ends tomorrow, my mortgage is still going to get paid. Whereas a lot of these people, this is how they make a living.
Yes.
So while I think they should have more integrity, I also get it. Right? If you're not going to make money unless you lie to everybody, then you're probably going to lie to everybody. And that's fucked up. And what impresses me, and I'm going to stop sucking your dick on your podcast, but what is the most amazing
that's
about
behind the paywall.
Yeah, that's you got to subscribe for that content. But that's the best thing about this show is you just keep it. This is what you think. And I've never gotten the sense that you were saying some shit because you felt like you had to say it for your audience, which actually shows your audience so much more respect than telling people what they want to fucking hear.
I couldn't agree more, and I think that is the largest problem too. Is people don't respect their audiences,
right?
Or they think they're dumb and they're just there to hand them money, and that's what I see a lot of problem, especially in political rings.
Really, you?
Well, let's end on this positive.
Where'd you see
this
that?
isn't positive at all. In a way, it is. But why don't we talk about Norm real quick before we get out of here?
Yes, absolutely.
I do want to say, and also, where can we find your show again?
Fox Soul, and then if you're in Houston, it's on at midnight and on Fox 26. It's prime time on Fox Soul, and you can find me at Big Angry Law on Instagram. I've killed my Twitter again, but I might resurrect it. It's also Big Angry Law.
Awesome. And then for me, you can check me out in North Carolina this weekend. And it will be at the Improv in Raleigh. But we do want to talk about our friend Norm Stulz, who passed away. Matt, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah. Norm Stulz was a Michigan comedian, a friend of the show, a friend of both of ours, a bit of a mentor. He was 73 years old, and he passed away of cancer last week, for real this time.
We were wrong when we first announced it on the show, and then 2 days later, we pulled it out of our drafts.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, he did comedy, started where we started, the Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle. He started in 1981. He did comedy for 43 years, did his last show a couple months ago. Just a consummate storyteller, true original, great family man, great role model to younger
Sam
comics.
Allen called him the best storyteller.
Absolutely. Yeah. He absolutely was. And he was somebody, a real role model for anyone who wants to succeed in this business on their own terms, because he lived in Michigan his whole life. He was married to the same woman for 43 years. He was a great family man, a great father. He was a pharmacist for many years, but it's like he made a lot of money. He did a lot of shows. He enjoyed his life.
Yep.
And he appeared in your movie, The King.
Yes, he did.
He's got a lot of material out there on YouTube, etc. So if you're not familiar with his work, please give him a look. But
yeah, and this is a quick scene from the movie The King where he played the grandfather.
Oh, hey, you walk much, old boy?
Hey, well, you can't give me a hand? When I was your age, I would run. I wouldn't walk. You can't even walk. Nice jump.
Well, all right, give it to me.
Yeah, hey, be careful with that, will you?
What the hell's
it's a new
in here?
computer. I got it for my grandbaby. I could have bought a new hip, but now I buy her some stuff. You couldn't. Hey, I got to pee. Where's the bathroom?
I don't know, dude. Go fucking find it.
Oh, jeez, every time. I can't. You're a punk, you know?
Calm down,
You're a punk. That's what
get out of here.
You bait some punks.
What's going on? Yeah. Ooh. It's like $20 in the card, too.
What?
Yeah, we miss Norm very much. I wanted him to be in my movie, just even as a quick part, just as the old guy. And he always made us laugh. He was honestly one of the best comics I've ever seen on stage who always killed a room. So I just wanted
just one of the best human beings, too. A couple years ago, I'd known him for years, and a couple years ago, I got a chance to do a couple shows with him in Florida and just drove around with him for like 12 hours all week and really got to know him better. And I'm really grateful I had a chance to do that.
Yeah, I'm grateful I knew him and as a friend, and I unfortunately but he lived a good life. And go out there and live your best life for real too. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight, and double good night.
Good night, everyone.